Mansam karma is any activity which is mental. But then the object of mental activity, mental action is Sagunam Brahma, means Ishvara, the Lord. Then it becomes meditation, dhyana. This is the classical definition. Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. Now in this meditation, the individual by a special action, mental action, relates to Ishvara. This relating to Ishvara, which already exists, a relationship already exists, but you highlight this relationship, like on a Father's Day, you highlight the relationship by doing something to a father. On Mother's Day, you do something to a mother. In India, we don't have this Father's Day, Mother's Day, because every day is Father's Day, Mother's Day. It's a different attitude. But then it's very beautiful to have a day for your father, a day for your mother. So on that day, you do something special to highlight the relationship, an obtaining relationship. Similarly, the relationship between you and Ishvara already obtains as individual and the total. Ishvara pervades you. All about you, about this we will see later. And therefore, a relationship that already obtains is highlighted by a special action. Like even when you do kayikam karma, puja, or vachikam karma, a recitation of, or a oral prayer, any form of oral prayer. Now here it is mental action. For this, there is drishtapalam, and we need this drishtapalam. It's a result that we have. Even as you do meditation, you can command that result. And over a period of time, when one practices this meditation, then the result is something very important, significant for every human being. It is a necessity. Every human being is subject to sorrow, is subject to sometimes anger, hatred, jealousy, agitation, fear. All these do not happen spontaneously. All these are all outcome of certain type of thinking. The type of thinking is mechanical. This mechanical thinking is not repetition. When I repeat something which is just a chant, like Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, it is not mechanical. Why I say this? Because some very, very highly respected person calls this kind of mental japa repetition as mechanical. Therefore, I need to explain this very clearly. It is not mechanical in as much as there is no mechanical connection from one thought to another thought. When I see a car, the car happens to be a Toyota, then I think of Japan, then I think of atom bomb, then I think of destruction, then I think of terrorism, then I think of theologies. All these I think of. I can become angry, I can become sad because I feel helpless. Humanity can live definitely in a better way, in a much more pleasant way. We can help each other, we can accept each other, we can grant freedom for others to follow what they follow, what they believe, and thus we can live an enlightened life of harmony. And we miss this for want of certain guidance, proper guidance on the part of people who are supposed to lead people in the field of religion, in the field of politics. They are supposed to lead us. And I wish they are much more enlightened. All this talk, do you know, is due to what? A Toyota. This is how my mind thinks, everybody's mind thinks. You see something, and that object can, by association, lead you to something else. That can lead you to something else. And thus you create a pattern of thought process over which you have no gear whatsoever. This losing gear over the ways of thinking is called mechanical thinking. I want to break this thinking process, at least to a great extent, to small extent in the beginning, to a great extent later by practice. For this, I deliberately give my mind an occupation. So this occupation is what is called japa. Japa means I choose to chant a given what we say a sentence, which can be in Sanskrit, and I am talking of Indian culture, spiritual Indian culture. Therefore, I am going to say what we generally do, so that every Indian knows what Indians do. The Indians of with enjoying the native culture and what they do, they should necessarily know. Every Indian should know. If we really understand these things, then there can be mutual understanding and mutual respect also. Because there is no demonic action involved, no devilish action involved. It's all deliberate form of prayer where the will is totally free. And mental prayer is also efficacious, and especially for drishtapalam, to break this mechanical thinking. which leads me to sorrow, which leads me always to a state of despair. And at least if I can catch myself somewhere, I don't allow myself to be taken for a ride. An occupation is complete when you chant a Gayatri mantra. The occupation is complete when one unit mantra is over. And the successive occupation is not any different from the previous. When it is not any different from the previous, there is no connection between the previous and the successive one. This breaking this connection is again highlighted by one being aware of the interval between two occupations, between the two chants. If I am quite aware of the interval between two chants, there is no mechanicalness. In fact, this is a technique to destroy mechanicalness. This itself is not mechanical, as someone happened to say. Highly respected person. And therefore, it's important for us to understand what I do when I meditate. So looking here, looking there is beneficial. Watching this, watching that is beneficial. We make use of all this. But what is meditation is classically defined as one that you mentally relate to the Lord, either by doing an elaborate puja and following it with what we say a chant. Generally, there is no meditation without a mental chant involved. It's amazing. It is something like my going to a mental gym. Besides it being a prayer, it gives me an occasion for practicing this self-aware and highly conscious occupation which connects me to Ishvara. Unto the Lord my namaskar. The meaning, unto the Lord I just give up my fears, my anxieties. I feel connected. This connection I will talk about later in detail. And therefore, so this meaning is very important. It is this meaning that pulls out the deepmost person in me. How we are going to see later. And therefore, I give here and give myself an occupation to create an occasion where I can discern a distraction. Otherwise, whole day there is no distraction, but there is thinking. I see one thing and something else. I see one person, I think of something else. And goes on and on. Whole day thinking is mechanical. Again, after one loop of thinking, we just come back to the same sadness. Then I seek diversion from that sadness, for which I whistle. Suddenly I sing a song. A fellow is driving a car, alone in his car, and driving, and suddenly he whistles, sings a song, humming a song. Do you know why? Not because of some ecstasy, not because of some joy discovered newly. No, it is one big circle of thinking coming to a point of sadness which this person cannot stand, therefore he whistles, he hums the latest song in the air. To divert himself, herself. This goes on and on. Or talks to himself. One good thing is there is nobody else. Because even when somebody else is there, he talks to himself sometimes. Somebody asks who is around the person, hey, what happened? No, you say something. All due to this circular thinking. From sadness, one loop and come back. Whole day it is like this. This is mechanical. Even Om Namah Shivaya is not going to be any different. I don't want it to be different. I want something to happen. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaraman. What happened to him? I didn't see him at all for the past 2 days. What happened to him? I think his wife is in the hospital. He was telling that she was to go to the hospital. My wife also has to go for maternity. This is all right. This thinking is all right. Nothing wrong. But not now, because I have given myself an occupation which is to repeat Om Namah Shivaya. Therefore, Shivaraman is a distraction. Therefore, I will come back to Om Namah Shivaya. Where is the guarantee? Yes, there is no guarantee, but we can make use of some of the advantages we are endowed with, some capacities we are endowed with, and there is a capacity. And the capacity is to bring to our attention an auto-suggestion. You suggest to yourself that you should have a meeting with somebody at 5 p.m. Thus, you suggest to yourself 10 o'clock in the morning. At 4:30, you are reminded. Then at 5, you meet the person. Thus, we can keep appointments for months ahead. You can have appointments. Still hold it in your mind. This is how we fulfill appointments, not by doing japa. This is what we say an auto-suggestion, which comes to fruition in time. This is how we keep appointments. For some people it comes a little later. That's why generally they are late. But by practice and some alertness and some commitment, so one can help oneself with this capacity to keep the appointments in time. Similarly here, before I sit in meditation or before chanting, I can say, whenever my mind goes away, I will bring it back from the object. So it is now occupied with, I will bring it back. Yato yato nischarati tatastato yetat niyamya atmaniyeva vasham nayet. So this is a good old advice. Don't think I am giving it anything new. I have nothing new. I'm just sharing with you what I have understood from my spiritual culture, the spiritual culture of India. Whenever the mind moves away, bring it back from the object it is occupied with now before further going away, and for which I require to have an auto-suggestion. Whenever my mind moves away, I will bring it back. When it moves away, I bring it back. Move it will. That is the nature of the mind. Chanchalam hi manaha. Don't complain, my mind doesn't stay. If it stays, you can't have a mind. It doesn't stay, that is called mind. Every thought is kshanika. It is momentary. It will go away. But your attempt is to bring it back. That is the abhyasa. That is the gym that you are now in. So when you bring it back, you learn how to have a gear, hold the gear over the ways of your thinking. The mechanicalness soon disappears. To think that it will disappear one day is a pipe dream. It will never. You can have another birth. Fortunately, if you are a human being, you will have the same problem. And therefore, one has to have this drishtaphalam. There is no substitution for this meditation. Therefore, in our culture, dhyanam is very important. We will see the relationship between an individual and Ishvara much more next time. Thank you.